Got my fuel hooked up, battery hooked up. I'm gonna run some temperature in this thing so we can set the hot lash. I'm not gonna rev the shit out of it, I'm just gonna basically let it run for a while. And we'll go from there. Engaging water. Jet. Ignition. So, I'm trying to look for temperature. 71. 65. So I'm trying to see if it's got equal temperature, if it's favoring the front or back. So this one's about 59. It's pretty tough. 60-ish. It's pretty even all the way through. So let's see what the discharge is doing. It's about the same. The radiator's about the same. So all in all, you get the picture. This little heat infrared gun is amazing. I check for exhaust all the time to see if there's big ones, bad ones. But it looks like we're up to a decent enough temp to start adjusting valves. Okay, got the covers off. I'm just gonna wipe up some oil here a little bit. Love this hot shit. Nothing reminds you where your fingers are when you touch this kind of stuff. It's hot, hot. So this side must be leaning the other side a little. It's got lots of oil in it. Okay, so we are now gonna crank it top dead center number 1. So what we'll do is maybe drop this rat out of the way. Okay, now everyone and their dog has different ways of adjusting valves. Everyone is right and everyone else is wrong. That's how it is. I like doing it especially with a roller cam, and it's got decent lift. Set them in the firing order, meaning 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. Now the reason we do that is, especially when installing the camshaft, is if you do one side, it is going to turn over stiff as hell, and because these are trying to climb the lump, the big lobe, and as soon as they get the other side of the lobe, it wants to force the cam the other way. It's hard as hell on the cam. You can feel it if you do it. So if you do one, and then an opposite, 8, and so on, 4, 3, blah, blah, blah. So then you get it, but now it's even. You set them nice, and it's great. So it takes a little longer, but it doesn't. So let's bring this bad girl up to top dead center number 1. Now, that's top dead center 1, pretty close. I'll back it off a little bit, and then we'll show you how to get to the next ones. Okay, you'll have to excuse my ugly writing, but it's a top dead center number 1, which is confirmed. Here's number 1, valves are loose. Okay, so what I do, every 90 degrees, the next guy fires. So the next one in the firing order is 8. So once we line this one up with top dead center, we can do number 8 in the far end. Next one on the list is 4, which is the second one on this side. You get the picture. So you go 2 revolutions to get them all, but now they're done perfectly. Now, next, I don't know if you can tell, but when I pick the push rods, they are just off-centered the roller that way. So when it goes down, the roller actually goes towards the outside. As it goes down, it takes a further path. So it'll go over center to almost the other side. Not the other side, but like about the same way it is now, except the other side. Now, the running mates, the exhausts, or the intake, sorry, you can't really tell, but they're set the same way. That's how you measure where the perfect alignment is. There is no bind underneath the trunnion, as you can see. Maybe I should get a light, that might be better. There, I don't know if you can see. But anyway, nothing's touching, nothing's binding. So that's what we want. Here is the cam card. This is the cam it has. So valve adjustment, which means lash. 16 thou and 18 thou. So that's what I am going for right now. So as you can see, the cam is fairly stellar. Devilish lift. Fast and devilish. It's got a 110 lobe separation, which gives it that shittier little idle, but I was gonna put the hydraulic roller of 114 in, and I changed my mind because the heads are big enough to handle this. So then I decided to go with the 4150 intake so I can run a little smaller hole of a carb. So I plan to run an 850, 950 I prefer, but it'll increase the velocity, which will make it more streetable. So I was gonna put the cam 2 degrees advance. What that means is I would get a little more torque and horsepower near the bottom RPM. Basically all it does is drop your curve from the top down about probably 500 RPM. And then I thought, you know what, I'm putting it straight up. Now I know that this thing has a pile of room. That's another thing I missed, but I will go through that with you. What I usually do is when I install the head, I put Play-Doh on top of the piston. I use an old head gasket, torque it down just a little bit around that piston, crank it over with 2 rocker arms, and then I take the head back off and cut the clay off the top of the piston, and you can see what your valve clearance is. Now, that is very worthwhile doing, because the higher the lift, the more compression you are running, the bigger the dome is on the piston, the closer that gap is. And that gets scary. So you don't want to just start advancing and retarding your timing or your camshaft, because you will hit valves, make a mess, bend push rods, piss people off. The dog won't even talk to you. Yeah, it's just not good. Anyways, I'm setting these valves. I'm getting carried away. Jeez, let me get going. Okay, here we have a 18 and a 16. Now, in case you're wondering, exhaust is always bigger. So, 18, look at that. That was pretty close. I had set 2 thou cold, tighter, cold. So now I am damn close on the exhaust. Oh, I would say really close in the intake. Intake I'm happy with, it's snug. This one, so I don't know. I'm gonna leave it. It's perfect. So that means we bump to number 8. Almost there. I'm just gonna do the last little bit with the screwdriver. Little more. There, that's pretty close. Now number 8. Okay. Where is our 18? Perfect. And perfect. This is looking good. I don't think I need to go through the whole sequence with you guys. I will touch up on this when we set the next motor up. I promise. I'm fairly a rookie at this shit. So I'm going to set the valves fire back up. We'll set the timing once and for all. And I think I'm going to have to move the distributor because my advance is there. But you know what? This distributor's not staying on it, so I'm not doing it. I'll just leave it, but I will set the timing and cheat it some. Okay, everything's buttoned back up. I did pull the distributor and move it back one. So I'm guessing there is the vacuum advance now, but we'll see what happens. Now it's gonna smoke because we did lose a bit of oil. I wiped it up pretty good, but not good enough. It's gonna smoke regardless. So let's fire this thing back up and we'll do a timing set. So let's fold the old cattle pin back up. Okay, water, ignition. Let's see if it starts. And that's a wrap. That's set at 34 degrees at 3,000 RPM. I didn't do the timing with you guys because I'm sure you've done it 10,000 times, but I usually run it at about 3,000, hoping all the vacuum advances in, and then set it at about 34, 36. Unless you're at a dyno or at the track, you can fine tune it, but it's pretty safe for this guy. So everything is great. I got to pull the intake and clean those little oil leaks up in the corner. Other than that, it's wonderful. It starts and does everything on its own, which is all you can really ask for. I'll do one more time for good luck. Beautiful. Well, I thought I was gonna put Gertrude on the road history first, but I'll end up putting Duke's frame on there. Let's see if she fires up so we can move it out of the road, get Duke in here and put it back in. In the meantime, while we're working on Duke, I'll pull the motor and tranny out of Gertrude in the cab and get the frame sandblasted by a good buddy of mine next door. Let's see if the old bitch fires. Yep, Hotel 6. Check it out. Ignition on. Choke. And the old starter. Check it out. Oil pressure. What a good girl. I checked a lot of health issues with this. This is the snap-on thermometer gun. So I just fired this up. There's exhaust 1. So I'm pretty sure that's Duke over here beside the crane, the 1 ton, and the other Treasure Island pieces over here. This is the row of shame. But I'm going to continue digging a little and we'll see if we can find it. There's Duke between this old Chevy. That's the cab. So there's some shit in the way. Like here, I don't really want to damage it, so for the love of gravy, always something. And there she lies. I'm gonna go get a chain and gently pull. Well, there it is. We'll thaw it out, put her in the shop, and start, I guess, this thing. And we're headed home. There it is. There's the shop. And there's our destination. So Gertrude's pissed. She lost her spot. I'll sweep this shithole up a little bit. Then I'll move in Duke. But I think we're gonna lift the cab off. So I don't really need that inside right now yet. So I'll use Big John over here to lift the cab off. I'll show you my way of doing that. It's really awesome. Now the reason I got this cab, because I don't know if you remember in the other conversation, I was digging Duke out with a track hoe one day, and I swung the bucket, and if you can see, I hit the top of the roof right there. Now yes, you can fix it, but there was rocker panels welded in the bottom of that thing before, and they are welded like not very nice at all. So anyways, let's move on, and I'll grab another chain and we'll start working on this thing. So this is my plan. That's what I was swearing about earlier. I did that yesterday, putting a rear end in. Son of a, hurt immediately. So I bumped it in the power steering of Gertrude, and it hurt like hell, but I didn't want to lose it on camera. Okay, we'll do this side. Now honestly, what could go right with this? Now I don't know if you can see anything, but I'm gonna video it anyways. If you hear a bunch of swearing, it didn't go right. Check that out, ladies and gentlemen. And she's landed on her new snowbank. I'm gonna go unhook it. I'm gonna grab a shovel now and clean some of this shit off, and then we'll see what's gonna happen next. Over. So I managed to roll her in the shop without hitting too much of anything. Strange. This is where Big John quits and Guido takes over. Guido's not much of a man out there in the mud. So anyways, I'm gonna get this thing out of here and we'll park her. So Guido seems a little bit more versatile than Big John. So to find center, I just simply hook up the overhead hoist to the frame. I'm gonna lift the front end up, and then it should move over pretty close to center, and then I can hook the rotisserie up. And I'll do the same in the back when I get there. The back I might have tweaked a little. It's funny, I didn't feel that in the cab at all with Big John, but whatever, that's a small minor setback or a beginning of many to come. Let me set this bitch up. So I'm just gonna hook it up. I'm just gonna show you what I did. So I made these so you can slide them in and out, do whatever. You tighten them up here. Now, these go on the end so you can turn it that way, fasten it with that bolt in the center or to the end or this side, or you can put it like this so you can go up or down, whatever. Anyways, I've decided to take them off, and I am going to run this tube straight underneath the frame like this and bolt it in this hole right here. As promised, this bastard's on the lift. We just gotta let the snow melt now. So this was Duke. As you can see, this is the Cummins bell housing for a 5.9, which I had mocked in here. And this is the tremor 6-speed off the Corvette. So I'm changing this to automatic, and I'm gonna change the gears to a little higher gears. I think they're two something highway to hell gears right now. So I'm gonna change them. I gotta stiffen the frame, box the frame in. Yeah, and then get Ursula's kidney, put it in here, start mounting body, yada 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 da. So Duke is on the rotisserie. I'm gonna close this door for a minute. It's trying to snow a little again. Son of a, never ends. Okay, so I changed my mind with Duke because the center of gravity wasn't right, so I ended up flipping these brackets like this, bolting them to the frame. So now the center of gravity is pretty much dead on the drive line. So here you see Duke, she's still melting, but you know what? To be continued. I put Gertrude under the hook. I'm gonna try and pull the motor this week, one night this week, and pull the cab off and then send it for sandblasting. So that's another thing done. In the meantime, what's next on this? We gotta close this in, make it super rigid. Right now it doesn't have much strength left to right. we'll be pulling the tremor off and changing the diff. So we'll put an automatic in and we'll start seeing if we can wrestle old Ursula in here. Here we go. Don't record my face because I might poop myself. Maybe turn the sound off. Before we do that, I like to put some wiener slider on everything. So the cam lobes, I already did that one, but I just thought I'd show you again. I do the valve tips, top of the injector. So here, 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 not so much here or there, but right about here. So that didn't get done, so I'm going by memory. We're screwed. So we're now going to turn it over to number 6 top dead center. Cat uses this awesome little pin. They make a pin for that. I use a 3/8 bolt because it's way more expensive. Yeah, not. So anyways, that's what I use. I'm going to turn it over. Shayna's going to push on the bolt till it clicks in. I already turned it some, so we're pretty darn close. So it should lock in. Shayna, can you do both at once?
Video and push?
Yeah.
Yep.
And chew gum?
I spit my gum out.
Okay. That would throw you off.
Yeah.
Okay. Until next week, folks, thank you for coming. It's been real and it's been nice and hasn't been real nice. Later, mater.